Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story showed up in a lot of different feeds, and I got to say thank you to everybody who used my email address, which is right down here at the bottom, and sent me this story a couple of different times. And this little baby was actually missing. And unfortunately, she's been found, but she was not found alive. So that really sucks. And I'm going to say some things about this story that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities because this is not the news. And I think everybody should understand that. I'm here to give my thoughts about what happened and my thoughts on these three thug amigos. That's what we're going to call them, the three thug amigos. Because these individuals, probably among more people, but definitely we're going to put a lot of the blame, if not the majority, on their shoulders, is the reason why this baby was missing. And I simply don't understand why people will have children and just don't care about them. That I will never accept. And that's never going to be okay. But that beautiful baby girl needed an advocate, and she didn't have one. An 11-month-old Indiana girl was reported missing over the weekend, but she was found dead in a place called Stark County, according to officials. Her name, Mercedes Lane, and she was the subject of a silver alert, which I'm not super familiar with that, but a silver alert. And that was canceled on Thursday morning. The girl had been placed in the care of a family friend named Justin Miller and was last seen around 12:30 a.m. Saturday in the, Mishawaka. I don't know what the hell that is, but according to the FBI, she was wearing a white onesie with pink trim. Now, the girl's father reported her missing on Sunday, which led to the silver alert. Now, police located Miller Monday morning in Stark County, but baby Mercedes was not with him. Wednesday afternoon, after several interviews, Miller led officers to the location in Stark County where they found this beautiful baby girl's remains in a wooded area. Investigators believe that she died Saturday, according to Marshall County Prosecutor E. Nelson Chipman. Miller will be charged with neglect of a dependent resulting in death, and according to authorities. Kenny Lane, let me see if I can tell you guys which one of these idiots is which so y'all will know who's who. I think I have a picture that has all of their names on it. Right here. Okay. Justin Miller on the far left-hand side. Kenneth Lane in the middle there, who looks like fucking Frankenstein. That is a weird-looking, beat-up, meth face, shrooms looking like he swallowed a bottle of Molly's looking ass boy. And then you got Tiffany Coburn on the far right hand side while she crying because she's sad because she's going to have to go to jail. But you know what? Do I feel sorry for any of these idiots? Hell no. Hell no. Do y'all? Y'all feel sorry for them just because they... Well, baby's dead. What do you mean? Like, why would we feel sorry for y'all? Because you're going to have to face the consequences because this baby could not speak for herself, nor could she defend herself against the tyranny that these three amigos put her through. Miller, on the left, will be charged with neglect of a dependent resulting in death, and then Kenny Lane in the middle, and Tiffany Coburn, the girl's parents. So the middle and the far right are the parents. That is a shame. And they face neglect of a dependent charges. Drug use may have been involved, investigators said during the Thursday morning news conference. The cause of death has not been determined and an autopsy has been scheduled. Additional charges could be filed based on the autopsy results, but I'm pretty sure that it's probably going to be some level of blunt force trauma, or maybe they gave her some type of drugs or something like that, but they definitely abused this baby and are responsible for her death. Investigators said there was no indication that the parents knew the girl's fate when they reported her missing Sunday. Okay. They had given the girl to Miller to take a break. Now, court documents, not my words, describe Miller as a family relative. And Mercedes was given to him on August the 14th, and Miller was originally set to return her Saturday. However, it was then decided that he would bring her home on Sunday. Now, Lane and Coburn tried numerous times to contact Miller. When they finally got a hold of him, he said he dropped the girl off with a neighbor, and however, that was not true. Coburn dropped a duffel bag off at a different neighbor's house, and the bag contained a safe that police believed contained illegal narcotics. Something tells me, based on the shape of his face, that those illegal narcotics probably was meth. And I know that's probably a typical excuse that you could say because they seem like the prototypical white trash in a sense, just based on their looks. You know, it's okay to judge people by their looks. It's okay. We do it to black folks. We do it to white folks. We do it to Mexican. We do it to everybody. It's okay to judge a book by its cover. But I'm willing to gamble and say that it was probably meth involved. Mercedes' parents reported her missing Sunday, leading to a statewide silver alert. So maybe some of you guys actually got that alert on your phone and it bzz, bzz, bzz. Your phone buzz. Y'all got to take a look at this stuff because sometimes it could be the difference between life and death to a child, okay? Now, police found Miller around 3:30 a.m. on Monday at a home in Stark County. Mercedes was not with him. Police said Miller told them that Kenny Lane contacted him on August the 12th to discuss buying synthetic marijuana. The conversation then turned to difficulties the parents were having with the little girl. Miller said he could watch her for a few days to give them a break. Police said his recollection of the events changed several times. Usually that means somebody's lying. He later admitted to using synthetic marijuana on numerous occasions when he was with the baby. He also claimed he had been kicked out of a home in Mishawaka and then dropped the little girl off at an Economy Inn with a family acquaintance on Sunday. How is it this strange coincidence that all of these deaths, I can't even tell you how many stories we've done just in the month of August of all these deaths, and somehow hotels in these cheap ass raggedy $29.99 hotels always end up in the story some type of way. Just want to throw that out there. Police said that he initially had trouble contacting the parents about their missing daughter. Kenny Lane and Miller had been in contact with one another through Facebook Messenger. Coburn, during an interview, admitted to using methamphetamine. Let me take a bow. DJ Just Jay was actually right about his assumption. I'm going to read that again. Coburn, in an interview, admitted to using methamphetamine. So I know there might be some awesome white people out there that might get mad about the fact that I stereotypically said that they might have been on some methamphetamine, and they admitted to it, and I was right. Don't get mad about a stereotype. Just don't fit the stereotype. It's very simple. Same thing I tell black folks. Used methamphetamine on numerous occasions, according to court documents. When police located the girl's father, he was under the influence of an unknown substance, according to court documents. Not according to DJ's words. Meth. On Wednesday, Miller told police that he was at a residence in Mishawaka on or about August the 14th and woke up to find that the baby was dead. He then told investigators he disposed of her body at a Stark County property located on 1025 East and 50th North. He eventually led officers to the scene where they found this little girl's remains. Investigating agencies, including the FBI Child Abduction Raid Deployment Team, damn, that's a mouthful. FBI Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team, the Indiana State Police and the Marshall County Sheriff's Office and the Marshall County Prosecutor's Office. But I'm going to tell you guys, it's a damn shame The fact that you got to get all of these departments involved, all of these investigations involved, all of these search teams, when these bastards always knew where these kids were. And I think this is going to have to be a recurring theme on our channel. And I've told you guys, where there's smoke, there's fire. And in most of these missing children's cases, you usually don't have to look further than the people that this child was in the custody of. You can usually start right there in that circle, and that's where you need to keep your focus at. And I believe that about so many different stories about all these different missing kids. You generally, in general, can look right at home. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's go ahead and get this video started. Let's go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Also, by the way, if you guys would do us a favor and help share Mercedes' story, it's kind of like giving these children a virtual hug. If you guys would click that thumbs up, our goal is always to try to get as many people to just click that thumbs up. So as many people that are watching right now, if y'all could give us that, that would be awesome. And we want to thank you so much in advance. Okay, let's get started.
Sorry it didn't come to the conclusion that everybody wanted.
Justin Miller led officers to this location in Stark County.
That location, a wooded area where police found the body of Mercedes Lane, the Plymouth baby, 11 months old. Everyone had hoped to find her alive, of course. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda Jackson.
And I'm Tom Powell. Welcome to Fort Wayne's NBC News at 6. The Marshall County prosecutor broke the tragic news about the baby's death during a news conference. Fort Wayne's NBC reporter Jeff Newmeyer was there. He joins us with the latest.
At a news conference held here at the Marshall County Jail before noon, we got the word about a heartbreaking outcome in the disappearance of this little girl. 11-month-old Mercedes Lane was reported missing by her parents on Sunday. Now it appears she may have already been dead when police were notified of her disappearance. The child's parents, Kenneth Lane and Tiffany Coburn, called to report Mercedes missing Sunday from an Economy Inn they were staying at in Plymouth. It sparked a statewide silver.
Look at that. These cheap, nasty, bed bug ridden roach motel, cum stain, nasty hotels. Come on, man. I'm sorry. Look, I know people be like, you know what, Jay? Not everybody has money like that to afford the nicest hotels. I get it. At the time, back in my day, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, neither did I. I probably couldn't afford it to stay in a hotel like that. But guess what I did not have? Children. I didn't stay in cheap-ass hotels and have children. When I was broke, I didn't have children. Once I was able to take care of myself, I made sure that my daughter always had a proper roof over her head. So shout out to my daughter's mother and shout out to my daughter. I'm sorry, you just can't keep making excuses to talk about, well, people ain't got no money. They got to stay in these shitty hotels. No, you don't. Stop having kids. Put the children first. Come on. Don't argue this.
Kenneth Lane and Tiffany Coburn called to report Mercedes missing Sunday from an Economy Inn they were staying.
Look at that. Man, who's driving that van from like 1976? That I'm sorry, I'm being mean. Lord have mercy.
At in Plymouth, it sparked a statewide silver alert. They told officers they handed the toddler over to a relative, 37-year-old Justin Miller, on Friday, saying that they needed a break from child care duties. Police finally tracked Miller down at a home in nearby Stark County early Monday. Now, authorities say he provided various versions of his actions and of what happened to the little girl, telling police he dropped the child off at the hotel Saturday, giving the girl to a woman there whose name he didn't know. He admitted to using synthetic marijuana on numerous occasions while he was in charge of that child, we're told. Wednesday, he made a more sinister admission, changing his story again, claiming he was at a home in Mishawaka Saturday and woke up to find Mercedes dead. Authorities say he told officers he disposed of the body in a remote wooded area in nearby Stark County. He led police to the very spot.
And y'all caught that in the chat. They talked about they needed a little break. There are two parents. So between two parents, and yes, parents would need a break, I guess, because like I said, you know, even between my daughter's mom and I, and we've had grandma and grandma on both sides, and then grandpa on my side of the family. A lot of family and friends. I guess I can kind of understand, but I'm pretty sure it. Like, I'm sorry, they just don't look like the working type. Am I wrong for saying that? They just don't look like the working type. They don't look like the 9-to-5 type. Clock in, clock out, be responsible, 401k, do your taxes, right? They just don't. That just don't correlate with this story.
Today, we ran into Thomas Woodard and his fiancee, Barbara Peters, at the location where Mercedes' body was found. They pounded a cross into the ground as a tribute to her short life. They say they knew Miller and the girl's parents, claiming they were caught up in illegal drug use and other bad lifestyle choices. What's going through your mind today?
It's just awful. I mean, if you're that stressed out, take her somewhere. Don't destroy her life. It's just not right.
They got too many places where they could have got help. And they chose to do this to this baby. That's just wrong, man. Why even have the child to begin with? We're old enough. All of these people in this story were old enough to understand what condoms are, what abstinence is, what the day after pill is, what abortion is, what safe haven is. Too damn old to be acting this damn stupid. If y'all agree, I feel you. If you disagree, let me know in the chat if I'm saying something that y'all disagree with, please. Let me know.
Somehow, some way, I mean, you don't give your kid to a random friend just for, because you can't take care of them because you're too high. It's just wrong.
And I'm sorry, this man looks like he been high as shit his damn self. Sorry, bro. I know you're an innocent person in this story, but you're doing an interview and you look like you've had a hard knock life for us. Look like you've had a hard knock life for us. That man looked like he want to smoke that microphone. Oh, Lord. I am going to hell for that one. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry, y'all. Look, we got to laugh sometime. These stories are really sad. Come on, man. We got to laugh sometime. My bad. Want to smoke that microphone, though. Let's go.
I think they all deserve to pay the consequences for it.
And unfortunately, the victim here is a little 11-month-old, can't take care of herself.
They can't fend for herself and can't scream for help, can't call 911, can't do nothing. She's helpless.
A man and woman who identified themselves as Mercedes.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I ain't gonna lie. I came up, if anybody ever uses that joke, they got it from me. I just came up with that off the top of the dome, all right? Y'all trademark that for DJ Just J, okay? But let's move on. But what he said, in all seriousness, let's get back and be serious, if I can. What he said was absolutely true. That baby couldn't call for 911. That baby couldn't fight for herself. She couldn't go run away. Like I did a story the other day where the foster kid was actually able to run away from the house and go get help. What is an 11-month-old baby supposed to do in order to get herself some help? She can't. She can't. He's absolutely right about that, though.
Grandparents showed up and left a stuffed animal by that cross. They declined to talk to us. Justin Miller is charged with felony neglect of a dependent causing death, and if convicted, could get up to 40 years. Kenneth Lane and Tiffany Coburn, those are the parents. They're facing lesser neglect charges, and I'm being told if they're found guilty, they could get 2.5 years.
Y'all pray for me.
Tonight, the parents of a missing Plymouth, Indiana 11-month-old girl have been arrested on neglect charges. Meanwhile, police and the FBI are asking for the public's help in finding baby Mercedes. As Max Lewis reports, the search for her is intensifying by the hour.
They've already found her. Let me skip that one.
The parents charged in the death of their 11-month-old infant were back in court today. Kenneth Lane and Tiffany Coburn both face a felony charge of neglect of a dependent. Their daughter, Mercedes Lane, was reported missing last Saturday in Plymouth. Police found her body days later in a wooded area in Stark County. The babysitter, Justin Miller, is also charged with neglect of a dependent.
Jane said they always interview the town idiot. Look, they do it in whites. They do it in, that's just the media. They do it in white stories. They definitely do it in black stories. I've even got a friend of mine. I don't know if y'all know who Sweet Brown is. Ain't nobody got time for that. That's actually my friend. My real life friend. And shout out to Sweet Brown. Bless her soul. Bless her soul. But yes, they do look, I think they do intentionally do these interviews to really kind of, I don't know.
Lane and Colburn are due back in court in September.
All thanks for coming. The search for Mercedes Lane, 11-month-old, ended approximately 9 p.m. in a remote, obscure, densely forested area not far from the Stark County, Marshall County line. It was in Stark County, and she was deceased. August 16, which would be Monday, at approximately 8:30, Tiffany was finally put in custody, and eventually her husband was also arrested because of what had developed to be a neglect of a dependent case as a level 6. Eventually, Kenneth Lane was located, the father, at the Red Rock Inn on August 16, the evening hours. Justin Miller was found in Stark County at a residence, and he too was brought into custody and interviewed numerous times. Actually, on yesterday afternoon, several times being interviewed, Justin Miller led officers to this location in Stark County. It was secured as a crime scene. We waited for crime scene investigators to arrive and process the scene, and it was several hours before Mercedes' body was removed from the area. As a result, Kenneth.
This is one of the police interviews, and I think this was probably the shortest and the most straight to the point. But this one's only like maybe like a minute and a half longer, and then we'll move on with the two more news stories.
Lane is charged with a level 6 neglect of a dependent. Tiffany Coburn, the mother, is charged with a level 6 felony neglect of dependent, and that involves the allegations of giving the child to Justin Miller under the circumstances that the investigation has revealed. Justin Miller has now been charged, or will be charged, with an L1, level 1 neglect of a dependent resulting in death. Level 1 is punishable by a maximum of between 20 to 40 years. Level 6s are 1.5 year to 2.5 years.
Here's the next video.
Just a bit.
All right, Nikki, thank you. It is a story that so many people in the Hoosier State are watching closely. The FBI is stepping in to help locate a missing 11-month-old girl out of Plymouth.
Fort Wayne's NBC reporter Carly Van Cleve went there today to talk with people in the area. Carly.
Tom, Linda, Mercedes Lane was last seen on Saturday just after midnight in Mishawaka. She's believed to be in extreme danger. I talked with neighbors at the Economy Inn where Mercedes and her parents lived as they hope for her safe return.
You have her to please bring her home or take her somewhere where she can be brought home, please.
Loved ones and neighbors worried about 11-month-old Mercedes Lane from Plymouth, Indiana.
I got a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I couldn't imagine losing either of them.
Pray for Mercedes and, their family.
Police have been around like crazy. The FBI have been around. They came in and searched all the rooms yesterday.
Candace Bishop lives in the Economy Inn next.
I can only imagine what they found. They searched all the rooms. I bet that was interesting.
You know, their family.
Police have been around like crazy. The FBI have been around. They came in and searched all the rooms yesterday.
They searched every room.
Candace Bishop lives in the Economy Inn next door to Mercedes and her parents.
Just basically trying to find anybody that knows anything, because we're kind of at the hotel. We're kind of like a little community. We have cookouts and stuff, and we all eat together. So we all know Mercedes and love Mercedes.
Police and the FBI still searching for her, hoping for a safe return. Plymouth Chief of Police David Bacon spoke at a news conference Tuesday.
We're looking to establish the sequence of events.
37-year-old Justin Miller is now in custody, charged with neglect of a dependent. Police also took Mercedes' parents into custody, charging them with neglect as well.
The 3 people that we have in custody have spoken to investigators. All their information does not corroborate.
Mercedes is about 2.
Fair Play said this is Methville. Guys, I am so sorry. But it really, it just, everything about this story just seems so wrong. It really does. Kydra saw what I saw. She had that McDonald's hamburger box in her hand. Oh my God. Everything is wrong with this story times 5. Y'all didn't see her with that hamburger box? Y'all didn't see that? She said, we all eat together. And this,
Mercedes and her parents.
Just basically trying to find anybody that knows anything, because we're kind of...
Oh my God. Guys, I am not trying to make a joke out of this story. I'm really not. I don't know. You just can't make this up. I got to take that from Tommy. You can't make this up. She ain't got no top teeth. Oh my God. Let me stop. This woman did not kill no baby. Let me stop. Woo. Hope I don't go to hell. Oh my goodness.
Does not corroborate.
Mercedes is about 2 feet tall, 19 pounds, with blonde hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a white onesie with pink trim.
We are looking for the public's help because our main focus is to bring Mercedes home safely.
If anybody knows anything, please get a hold of somebody.
She's loved, very loved, very loved. And we want her home. We want her home.
Why do they keep putting her back on camera? Come on, man. The media is playing with us. Guys, don't get mad at me. The media is doing this, not me. They keep putting her back on camera.
Is to bring Mercedes home safely.
If anybody knows anything, please get a hold of somebody.
She's loved, very loved, very loved. And we want her home. We want her home.
Well, if you have any information that could help police, call this number 574-936-2126 or simply call 911. You can also click on this story on Fort Wayne's.
11-month-old Mercedes Lane was found dead in a remote area of Stark County after a days-long search to find her. Here's what we know about the case so far. Both 11-month-old Mercedes Lane was found.
Unless I'm mistaken, it looks like her outfit is pretty dirty too. It looks like she has a cut. Y'all look at this. It looks like she has a cut on her arm, like some bruising on her arm. She looks like a happy baby, but those clothes look extremely dirty. There was no need in doing this. If this story would have hit the news and they would have said, we need some help. Y'all know how many thousands of people across America would have gladly have taken on this baby with that big, beautiful smile? There's nothing this baby did wrong at all. She was just born to the wrong people, in the wrong situation, the wrong time, the wrong place, the wrong mindset, the wrong everything. Beautiful little girl.
found dead in a remote area of Stark County after a days-long search to find her. Here's what we know about the case so far. Both Mercedes' parents and a man who had allegedly been watching her face criminal charges in the baby's death. She was last seen in the care of Justin Lee Miller, who now faces a count of neglect of a dependent resulting in death and could face 20 to 40 years in prison if convicted. Mercedes'
He needs 40 to 50 years.
Parents, Kenneth Lane and Tiffany Coburn, also face charges of neglect of a dependent. Court documents called Lane and Coburn uncooperative in the search for their child. Authorities said it took days to locate the baby's parents. At one point, Coburn said she was coming into the police station but never showed. Coburn and Lane were eventually found on August 16th. In the end, it was Miller who led officers to the baby's body on August 18th, after telling them he disposed of it at a property in Stark County. And we have more details about this case, including why an Amber Alert wasn't issued at WTHR.com.
Now, I don't know the difference between an Amber Alert and a Silver Alert, but there was an alert put out. But there should not have been a need for it. So as I give my closing thoughts about this, like I said, this baby was pretty much doomed from the jump. She stood no chance of surviving. She stood no chance of being in good health. She stood every chance of being abused. And here's the scary part. And I'm telling you guys, I'm going to hurt some of y'all feelings with this one. And I hope y'all are ready. And I hope you have your panties strapped on really, really tight right now. If you can't handle this, just exit my channel. Here's what I have to say. I got to be honest. I'm always be honest with y'all. Could y'all imagine what they would have done to this girl if she would have got a little bit bigger and a little bit more developed? Boom. You know how they say God works in mysterious ways? I'm just here to tell ladies and gentlemen who are watching right now, the thought petrifies me. I don't even use that word. Just the thought petrifies me. If that girl would have got a little bit older, what these assholes would have did to her. If she would have got a little bit older and a little bit more developed. They would have even... I don't even like to think about it, man. We believe at the AFC that babies' lives matter. We believe that Mercedes Lane, 11 months old, her life mattered. They should have never had this kid. And this goes back to the point that I was making before. If you are so financially in dire straits that you have to live and be at these nasty hotels, and you can't afford to do regular things like buy deodorant and buy toothbrush and toothpaste and buy trash bags, then you probably shouldn't be a parent. Why do people get mad at me for saying such a simple statement, but it actually makes a lot of sense? Because you're putting children in a very disadvantaged position. And I'm sorry, just because your ass might have went through it and you survived it, don't mean that these babies should have to go through what you went through. That's not fair. That's not right. And this child was young enough, and these people were old enough, clearly old enough. This man has no hairline. The baby's only 11 months old. He didn't lose his hairline 11 months ago. Hello. This dude looks like he's about a good 40, 45, maybe even 50. These are not young people. These are not teenagers. They brought this little girl into this world purposefully. They didn't have to. But why bring her into this world? Oh, you know what? That's right. Because they only wanted to collect benefits off of this little girl. We call that hashtag babies for benefits. That is an AFC hashtag, is it not? They probably wanted this idiot crater face with all of those damn, look like somebody shot her in the face with a bunch of rubber bullets or something like that. Like something just exploded, just all in her face. Huh? I'm going to assume that probably the reason that they had this little girl was to probably try to get some free housing, some food stamps, some Section 8, some car vouchers, some free shit. Maybe get some of those good old tax deductions, some of those stimulus checks that the government is passing around. Like we can really afford to just keep giving out stimulus checks and people don't want to go back to work. That's absolutely unfair for them to do that to this baby. And because they did, I think that they deserve the ultimate penalty under law. And I think until you start making an example out of people like this in America, make an example out of them. I'm sorry, they don't have nothing to look forward to in life. Let me tell you guys some real talk. These people were going to continue to be a drain on society, continue to hurt folks, continue to create meth, smoke meth, sell meth, whatever it is that they were doing. They don't need to be in our society. And in all actuality, we got to get rid of trash like that. That goes for anybody in the United States of America, regardless of your race or nationality. Anybody who was a drain on our society shouldn't be a part of our society, especially when they hurt our babies. These babies can't speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves. So who's going to step up and give these babies a voice? I'd like to think that the AFC represents a very small segment, a very small group of people that we believe that baby Mercedes' life actually did matter, and it should have mattered. And if we would have been the father or mother to that little girl, we would have made sure that she had every opportunity to grow up and become something great and let that beautiful smile bless the world. To baby Mercedes Lane at 11 months old, young princess, R.I.P. I'm DJ Just Jay, and we believe in getting justice for these children. So like I say, when it comes to court time, don't feel sorry for them if they get life in prison, if not more, because they deserve it. All right. Thank y'all so much for listening with an open mind and an open heart, and continue to share these stories. Okay. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, when I looked up this particular story, I was confused for a lot of different reasons, because the first thing that I was trying to figure out was the motive. Why did this happen? And what prompted this individual to do what he did? And I'm going to warn you guys, the details might not sit well with your sensibilities, but the things I say might also do the same thing. So I understand if this might not be the video for you, but I have to be honest about everything that I see, okay? We're going to talk about that individual that you see on my screen. I guess you have to call him human just because he lives and breathes oxygen and bleeds blood, I suppose. But he's really like a demon walking this earth. But let me explain to y'all what he did. He is 18 years old, and he was charged as a man with 3 counts of murder. 3 counts of murder. 1 count of first-degree murder could get you life in prison, if not the death sentence. He has 3 counts. After police said that he shot and killed 3 people, including a woman and her 8-year-old daughter, whom he did not know well, and let me repeat this, whom he did not know well, within a few hours of each other in St. Louis Tuesday night into Wednesday. His name is Premeditated McLean, which is spelled Prinshun. Premeditated. It's a stupid name. He has a stupid name. I know his mama might not like me calling his name stupid, but it is stupid. It is. Premeditated McLean was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. I told y'all, wow. First-degree murder is no joke. 1 count of first-degree burglary and 4 counts of armed criminal action in connection with the deadly shootings. I'm willing to bet if he was willing to do all of this ain't his first rodeo. Not at all. I bet you this has been stuff he's been doing ever since he could leave a house. You don't just wake up one day, grab a gun, start kicking in doors and robbing people. The robbery charges are related to the deadly shooting of a mother and her daughter. Police sources say that the victims were tied up in their own home and shot Wednesday afternoon. That is evil. That is evil. The first woman, Tori Manisco, who was 26 years old, was shot to death just before midnight Tuesday on the front porch of her own home in the 1100 block of Dover Place and the Carondelet neighborhood in South St. Louis. Officers did not find her until about 5:45 a.m. Then at about 3 p.m. Wednesday, a woman went to check on her 27-year-old daughter. Y'all see her on the right-hand side of the screen. And her 8-year-old daughter at their home in the Fairgrounds neighborhood on the city's north side and found them tied up and shot to death. Now, generally speaking, it's usually one of two things. Either one, a robbery. It's usually robbery, is it not? Or like a drug hit. Usually one of two things. Either a robbery or a drug hit. Maybe it could have been the boyfriend of hers that she was after, her baby dad. Who knows? Could have even been a dude that she was dating. But I just don't think that this was random because it said that he didn't know her very well. So y'all have to ask yourself, think about this. Think about it rationally, because I know a lot of times people will email me and tell me, Jay, you don't have the right story. You don't know what you're talking about. But let's think about this rationally. Why did he choose her? He didn't just kick in the door and start shooting people. When you tie somebody up, that is intent. You tie her up and her child, that is intent. You had time to think about this. You had time to plan this. This is why y'all come to my channel, because a lot of times I give opinions that not only are not popular, but they actually follow a large level of logic, because I've seen a lot of shit in my time, okay? That sounds like a drug hit. I'm going to assume that this woman wasn't balling out of control. I don't think that she probably had a ton of money. I doubt that she was flashing cash, like she was flashing thousands of dollars or nothing like that. I doubt if she hit the lottery. This, yeah, it sounds planned. Thank you. Premeditated. It's premeditated and planned. Absolutely. But to me, this sounds like probably some man that she was dealing with. Boyfriend, maybe baby daddy, because this was very personal. Very personal. Somebody wanted that woman and that baby dead. This is bigger than just this story. There's something bigger above him. Let's keep going. St. Louis police confirmed that the suspect in both homicide cases is in custody at a jail in Granite City on unrelated charges. A police source familiar with the investigation told the news with neighbors and witnesses helped homicide detectives link the shootings to the same shooter, and the alleged shooter did not know the victims very well. Did not know the victims very well. That sounds like a drug hit. Otherwise, why did he pick these two targets? It ain't random. I'm never going to accept that as an answer. According to charging documents, he lived in the same apartment complex as the woman and her daughter. So again, I just don't think that that's random. The victim's mother said that she ran down the stairs after finding her daughter and granddaughter killed and asked McLean to call the police, not knowing he was one of the suspects, or he was the one suspected of pulling the trigger. Damn. So the man that shot, so maybe grandma knew him? I don't know. That's very weird. He did call the police, and to officers, he did not hear anything, even though the victims were shot multiple times. The victim's mother said that she noticed her daughter's 3 TVs near McLean's door while police investigated. Okay, that sounds like potentially a robbery. Again, not random. The source tells the news, Manisco complained to friends and relatives about a man acting strange towards her on a bus not long before her murder, which helped detectives identify the alleged shooter. So maybe he shot her out of anger. I don't know, man. The news has confirmed that McLean pled guilty in June to second-degree robbery. Okay, so he was stealing shit. There's the motive. So I talked about it earlier and then I skipped it. So it sounds like he was trying to rob them. In that case, police said that the man pulled a woman's hair and punched her in the head before taking her cell phone outside the University Club Tower office building along Brentwood Boulevard. A security guard saw the attack and intervened, according to court documents. You know how we say here at the AFC, stupid is as stupid thugs? You just can't be much dumber than that? Do y'all know that smartphones nowadays don't hardly cost much of anything? They have smartphones that you can buy. You can buy an Android phone for less than what it would cost to get this fool a haircut. Think about that for a moment. You could buy an Android phone for less than what it would cost for a haircut. And you needed to beat somebody up over their damn phone? For what? Everybody, look, this is what we call a saturated market. The market is saturated. I come from the sales environment. I've been a salesman for many, many years. And I'm telling you, a stolen phone ain't worth squat. A stolen phone ain't worth squat. Who the hell, if somebody comes up to you and they got a stolen iPhone or a stolen Android phone and you're going to turn around and pay them $100 for it? Who's doing that nowadays? When everybody, like most of these smart, like maybe some phones take better pictures, some phones are a little bit faster, a little bit smarter, some phones have a little bit better battery life. Outside of that, they all do the same stuff. If you are buying stolen phones, you're just weird at this point. The market is saturated with cheap ass phones. You can get an Obama phone for free. Thank you. They were just giving smartphones away. That's how saturated the market is. But anyway, let's move past that. We want to throw that out there to just explain the level of depravity and how stupid this fool is. The man gave the cell phone back to the victim and ran away from the scene, but officers found him and he admitted to pulling the victim's hair and taking her phone. Surveillance cameras captured the attack, according to the documents. He was sentenced to 5 years of probation and sent to the aggressive offender program with 8 months of shock time in the Department of Justice Services. He was released after being given credit for time served. And I want y'all to remember, he's only 18 years old, so they might have considered him a youthful offender between ages 17, 16, or whenever it was that he got in trouble. He was released after being given credit for time served. Manisco was a student at Crossroads College Preparatory School, according to a memorial her brother Tyler wrote on social media. Friends and family of the second victim, Terry Bankhead, and her daughter, Denila Edwards, these two, told the news that Bankhead was a certified nursing assistant and her daughter was going into second grade. Wow. Family members said that they lived in the apartment near Pleasant and Penrose Street only 6 months. Wrong place, wrong time. That really sucks. Police sources say that the alleged shooter had a relative living in the area, but did not know Bankhead or her daughter very well. Now notice how they continue to keep saying that. But let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's talk about this. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys are watching this stream right now, do me a favor real quick. Take a pause for the cause. Please click that thumbs up. It helps share the stream and let more people know that we're live. So our goal is always to try to get as many people who are watching to just click that thumbs up. So help share this story, okay? So more people can see it. Just look down for a moment, click that thumbs up. And also, let me mention this while I'm thinking about it, about mental illness. We're always talking about mental illness and these people need help and these people have all of these issues with mental illness, right? Well, I want y'all to think about something when it comes to his mental illness. He got counseling. They tried to talk to this fool. They tried to help him go a different direction. And he still went this direction. So therefore, you can actually qualify and say, no, he definitely doesn't have a mental illness at all. He thought about this and he just flat out didn't give a shit. Think about that. Let's get it.
So finally, breaking news tonight, a man now charged with multiple St. Louis murders.
And one of them, a mother and daughter, were killed. Princeton McLean is in Granite City's jail tonight. How and why the 18-year-old is there, police are not telling us. We're also tonight waiting to get a mugshot of him. Detectives connected McLean to the murders of Terry Bankhead and her 8-year-old daughter, Denilah. Police have also confirmed he lived in the apartment below the mother and daughter. Both were found shot and bound to a bed late yesterday in North City. And then police say the teen is also behind the killing of Victoria Manasco. Her murder happened Tuesday. She was discovered on her porch early Wednesday in South City's Carondelet neighborhood. Family of the double homicide victim say news of the arrest is relief.
This is why I believe in your Second Amendment rights. For those of y'all who have the right to bear arms in your states, make sure that y'all go get trained, get you a proper weapon, keep that weapon with you. But y'all need to get properly trained in your state. Go to one of your local agencies like to get your almost kind of like your license, even though you might not have to have a license anymore, but go get it anyway. The training is really good. It's well worth your money. They'll let you take a little bit of target practice as well. Be proficient with your weapon. But these weapons are tools. Guns are not bad things. They're tools. And you need to be able to protect yourself. And I would have loved to report this story in reverse and have both of these women putting that fool, that 18-year-old fool, out of his misery. I would have loved to report the story that way, not the other way around.
I couldn't do nothing but cry. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. That's all. I don't have to live with not knowing who did this. And it make a big difference. It won't bring them back, but I know. So I will get justice.
The killing of 8-year-old Denilah marks the 11th child this year killed in the city of St. Louis. We've got more details on charges on your KMOV News app. Now here at 6 o'clock, a teenager is in jail accused of killing this St. Louis mother and daughter. We've also learned that happened just hours after another woman's murder.
Tonight, total strangers are placing balloons outside this North City home where the family was found bound and killed late yesterday. Investigators tell News 4 that suspect is only 18. They've connected him to the murders of Terry Bankhead and her 8-year-old daughter, Denilah.
And the mother and daughter were found on Pleasant Street near North Florissant and Grand Wednesday. And now police have told us about a 26-year-old woman's murder on Dover Place in South City just the day before.
News 4's Russell Kinsall is outside St. Louis City Police headquarters tonight, tracking the twists and turns in these cases. Russell?
So right now we know that 18-year-old suspect is being held in custody in the Metro East, where he was arrested. He's being held on unrelated charges. We also know that detectives here at police headquarters in downtown St. Louis are working on the paperwork they'll need to submit to the courts in order to get him charged with 3 counts of homicide. Deaths of 27-year-old Terry Bankhead, her friends called her Shug, and her 8-year-old daughter Denilah were so shocking that friends stopped by the house to remember them. Wanda Body had known Bankhead for 10 years.
And she was a beautiful person, and it's just prayers go out to the family and everyone who knows her, and I just pray for justice.
According to police, Bankhead's mother was unable to reach her daughter, so she went to the home on Pleasant Street Wednesday. There she found Terry and Denilah tied to a bed and shot to death.
It's just sad. And now it's the babies, it's the ladies. I mean, really, we need to come together, you all, and just really get a grip. Life is too short, and it's precious.
Gwen Wilson and her daughter Camille said they were heartbroken when they learned of the mother and daughter's violent deaths. So they brought balloons, flowers, and a teddy bear to set outside the house, and then called for an end to the violence on the city's streets.
I can only imagine the pain of the family, her mother. Just please stop the violence. Let's let these babies live their lives. Let them grow up. Give them a chance.
I feel them on that. I cannot help but notice, and I hate to be a negative what, Nancy? What's the another word for Nancy? I guess a negative Bobby or whatever, I guess. I don't know what to call it. But I find it real strange that they tend to do a lot of these interviews with a whole bunch of women and no men. Just want to throw that out there. Small observation. It don't mean nothing that I know of, but just throwing it out there. A lot of women, no men.
In response to the homicides, employees of the Crisis Nursery and Urban League fanned out in the neighborhood, going door to door. They came to bring support to the community and supplies for those caring for young children.
Whenever the St. Louis Crisis Nursery hears that a child in our community has been in...
We're going to call it Negative Nathan. Thank you.
For those caring for young children.
Whenever the St. Louis Crisis Nursery hears that a child in our community has been injured, hurt, killed, we jump into action to be as supportive to the community as we possibly can.
Let me give you the hotline for the 24-hour hotline for the Crisis Nursery. That is 314-768-3201.
We have new details this afternoon on the breaking news we first told you about yesterday here at 4. Police have arrested a man they believe is connected to the shooting deaths of a young mother and her daughter in North St. Louis. News 11's Kelly Hoskins joins us live from the scene on Pleasant Place with word the suspect may be connected to the killing of a woman Tuesday in South St. Louis. Kelly?
Well, Mike, that tragedy all unfolded here yesterday afternoon in the 4200 block of Pleasant Avenue. St. Louis City Police confirming that an 18-year-old male suspect is now in custody, wanted a connection with the murder of the mother and her daughter. Also wanted a connection with another murder that happened just a few days ago in South St. Louis. Family and friends telling me they are relieved that an arrest has been made.
8-year-old Denilah and her 27-year-old mother, Terry Bankhead, are victims of Wednesday's tragedy. Late Thursday afternoon, officers arrested an 18-year-old male with the assistance of the Granite City Police Department and has been taken into custody for the murders. Detectives believe this was a targeted incident. Police also say the male suspect is responsible for another murder that happened on Tuesday.
Notice how they call it a targeted murder.
With the assistance of the Granite City Police Department and has been taken into custody for the murders. Detectives believe this was a targeted incident. Police also say the male suspect is responsible for another murder that happened on Tuesday. A 26-year-old Asian woman was shot and killed. Her body was found on the porch of a home on Dover Place in South St. Louis. Those who knew the victims are in shock.
Beautiful individual. She's a good mom to her little daughter, and that's all it was. It was just her world and her daughter's world that I knew of, and she was a beautiful person, and it's just prayers go out to the family and everyone who knows her.
On Thursday, a makeshift memorial stands as residents stop by all day to place balloons and teddy bears in honor of the 2 young lives lost too soon.
I just came by to put flowers. It just touched my heart because this St. Louis, and not only St. Louis, all around, we need to get together and pray.
From Bommarito Automotive Group Skyfox, you can see the extensive police investigation and the large area investigators were scouring. Homicide detectives, crime scene techs, and medical examiners investigated. The St. Louis Crisis Nursery and the Urban League visited the neighborhood to knock on doors and provide support as the community continues to grieve. The St. Louis Crisis Nursery provides support to families facing crisis.
Well, whenever the St. Louis Crisis Nursery hears that a child in our community has been injured, hurt, killed, we jump into action to be as supportive to the community as we possibly can. This is heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking that yet another child in our community was killed.
And the St. Louis Crisis Nursery has a 24-hour helpline. That hotline number is on your screen. We will also provide that number on our website. They assist families in crisis. Also, police are encouraging anyone with information in regards to the recent murders to contact Crime Stoppers. At this point, they are not releasing the identity of the suspect. They say this is an ongoing...
We already got that. So keep going.
A Wednesday's tragedy all unfolded here in the 3200 block of Pleasant. St. Louis City Police say...
Now, you got to remember, you said he was a jealous ex. No, he was not. I want y'all to remember the fact that they said that he did not hardly know them at all. He didn't know them at all. Neither one of them. None of the three victims did he know.
That they now have an 18-year-old male suspect in custody, wanted in connection with the murders of the mother and her 8-year-old daughter. We're also told that the suspect is wanted for another murder that happened a few days ago in South St. Louis. And family and friends say they are relieved that an arrest has been made. 8-year-old Denaya and her 27-year-old mother, Terry Bankhead, are victims of Wednesday's tragedy. Late Thursday afternoon, officers arrested an 18-year-old male with the assistance of the Granite City Police Department and has been taken into custody for the murders. Detectives believe this was a targeted incident. Police also say the male suspect is responsible for another murder that happened on Tuesday. A 26-year-old Asian woman was shot and killed. Her body was found on the porch of a home on Dover Place in South St. Louis. Those who knew the victims are in shock.
Beautiful individual. She's a good mom to her little daughter, and that's all it was. It was just her world and her daughter's world that I knew of, and she was a beautiful person. And it's just prayers go out to the family and everyone who knows her.
On Thursday, a makeshift memorial stands as residents stop by all day to place balloons and teddy bears in honor of the 2 young lives lost too soon.
I just came by to put flowers. It just touched my heart because this St. Louis, and not only St. Louis, all around, we need to get together and pray.
From Bommarito Automotive Group Skyfox, you can see the extensive police investigation and the large area investigators were scouring. Homicide detectives, crime scene techs, and medical examiners investigated.
Notice how there are no riots, there's no marches. And again, as a reminder, I'm just looking at this. They only interviewed women, no men. Throwing it out there. Don't know if that's for a reason. Maybe I'm the one that's tripping.
The St. Louis Crisis Nursery and the Urban League visited the neighborhood to knock on doors and provide support as the community continues to grieve.
As y'all can see, it's men out there.
To knock on doors and
it's men out there. Didn't interview any of them, no.
Provide support as the community continues to grieve. The St. Louis Crisis Nursery provides support to families facing crisis.
Well, whenever the St. Louis Crisis Nursery hears that a child in our community has been injured, hurt, killed, we jump into action to be as supportive to the community as we possibly can. This is heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking that yet another child in our community was killed.
Well, St. Louis police are not releasing the identity of the 18-year-old male suspect.
We already did that, ma'am. Here's the last news video, and then I'll give y'all my closing thoughts about this thug. And I want y'all to remember that thug doesn't have anything to do with skin color. Can y'all make sure that everybody heard what I just said? So I don't want people to get mad or upset when I say thug. It don't mean black. Thug is an action, not a skin color. We're going to talk about this thug, where he comes from, and why I believe he did what he did. Because he don't have any self-value in himself. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. Last video.
Well, St. Louis police today announcing an unexpected connection between 3 murders. Their investigation revealing that the man suspected of killing a mother and daughter in North St. Louis Wednesday also killed a woman who was walking home in South St. Louis the night before. Here's Fox 2's Chris Hayes with who police believe was behind that rampage. Chris.
Jasmine, an 18-year-old. Premeditated. McLean now charged with breaking into the apartment of his neighbor. the 27-year-old woman and her daughter and allegedly killing them 3 miles north of here. He's also charged with killing a 26-year-old actress he allegedly followed home from a bus stop 3 miles south of here.
She was an actress? And of course they're talking about the, I couldn't tell what ethnicity the other lady was, but apparently she was an actress. They said actress. Didn't know that.
Neighbor, the 27-year-old woman and her daughter and allegedly...
Chris.
Jasmine, an 18-year-old. Premeditated McLean now charged with breaking into the apartment of his neighbor, the 27-year-old woman and her daughter, and allegedly killing them 3 miles north of here. He's also charged with killing a 26-year-old actress.
A 26-year-old actress. She seems like she's of Asian descent. Yeah, that's what I thought. She seemed like she was of Asian descent, but they said she was an actress. Crazy, man.
He allegedly followed home from a bus stop 3 miles south of here.
It's a lot to accept in a very crazy world.
Jack Lane worked with 26-year-old Tori Menisco in his role as executive producer of Stages St. Louis.
She was really pursuing her acting. She did Avenue Q at Westport Playhouse, and she was on a really, really great track as an actress.
Menisco was walking home after rehearsal from the bus to her home on Dover after about 10 o'clock Tuesday night when someone was following her and shot her on her front porch Tuesday night.
And she was walking home. That's all she was doing. And I don't know, clearly we'll never know if she was aware of someone was following her, but someone was following her. This was caught on footage.
Now that's the thing, because I don't know if he tried to rob her, but he just followed her and shot her and killed her like that. I would love to at least hear his reason. I think he owes that to this life on earth with the last breath in his body to at least tell us why he did that. It sounds like for the black mother and her daughter, because he had gathered up their TVs, it sounded like he was trying to rob them. Stupid is and stupid thugs. I got to say that again. And think about this. He lived upstairs from her. What the hell was this fool gonna do? He remind me of those people like when the hurricanes and floods hit and people were actually robbing the stores and stealing all those TVs and they didn't have no freaking power. Stupid is and stupid does. So you were gonna rob her for her TVs and then carry them son of a bitches upstairs? I would love to know who that boy's parents are. They have failed the world. You just can't be that level of dumb. Keep in mind, they said he lived upstairs above them for the mother and the daughter. The other lady, it sounded like he just stalked her and shot her for no reason. On some weirdo stuff. Thank you.
Police reportedly found neighborhood ring camera footage of the suspect about 7 seconds behind her. Lane says he learned his friend and co-worker Menisco was murdered the day this new Kirkwood Performing Arts Center opened.
And she was so excited about the building of the Performing Arts Center, she never got to work here. It was opening night day that we got this news. It was very much walking through a haze.
Oh, to give me the strength.
See, something is wrong with the stream. We're almost done though. What is going on? Can y'all still hear me? I know the stream just skipped. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. I saw it. Are we still here? We still live?